I want to welcome you to a very unexpected Hope Rocks recovery. My name is Joe Defino, and never did I think I would be in this kind of a situation where I would be motivated, pushed, moved to do something like this. Years ago, with a group of very devoted individuals who believed in the mission of trying to restore lives through the arts, through music, through hope, in a manner in which just sold the idea that tomorrow is worth a chance. It's worth trying for. We live in a society that is just totally ravaged by hopelessness at the hands of addiction, at the hands of mental struggle, and we are losing millions. And I say millions because in the last decade alone, we lost nearly 1 million to suicide and overdose. And I'm here this evening hoping that I can share with you the significance of the individuals who were trying to help, support, understand, and walk with. Because there's no difference between any of us except given to us by the grace of a higher power. And I'm not going to get religious, but there's certainly a spiritual element. You know, I've got lots of taglines and graphics and things like that that go along with what we call Hope Rocks and our movement. And the other day we started a live stream program called Hope Rocks Recovery, and we will continue with that, and I'm excited for it. But today I was kicked. I was kicked hard in the stomach, hard in the heart. So I may be talking to you a lot out of emotion, and I apologize for that. But sometimes, you know, in the darkness of these moments, I ask myself, and I ask all the people that are with me, are we ignorant to think that we can make a difference? Or are we arrogant enough to think that we can make a difference? And really, that is something that I struggle with all the time. But we have to pursue hope all the time. The individuals that we remember each and every day and each and every meeting that we have, and I apologize for this rudimentary display, but whenever the Hope Rocks team gets together, we focus our attention on these posters and the names on these posters, because these are the individuals for whom we try to do the work. We try to honor their legacy, their struggle, by doing the work in their memory. And for those that are in recovery or trying to get in recovery or in some sort of a hardship, we want them to feel our support. And I want to start this evening, this message, the same way that we start all of our meetings after we take a look at the posters. I'd like to take a minute just to silently remember all of those that are having difficulty, their families, their friends, and those who have lost the battle. I thank you. Today we lost a warrior. On October 13th, Hope Rocks was to have its annual celebration called the Hope Rocks Gala. And it is an event in which we are very proud to be able to put on to celebrate the achievements and the accomplishments of the movement in the previous year. Well, unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of our control and the worldwide situation of this coronavirus, the gala was postponed, and we will be having it later in the year. But we had a number of very special speakers, one of which, an individual with whom I became friends with, was going to speak about his experiences with the Hope Rocks movement. That individual died last night of an overdose. And it was not out of anything that he could control. As a matter of fact, it's an insight to how hideous and horrible this disease is. And he was going to be one of our guest speakers, and he was so excited to have this opportunity. And I remember back in January of 2019 getting a message on the Hope Rocks Facebook page, "I need help, I don't want to use anymore." I didn't know who this individual was. I never met him before. But that began a journey and a relationship that I'll forever be grateful for, and I will forever be a better person for. And in that discussion, in trying to keep him from using, we talked about Hope Rocks, and we talked about how wonderful it would be and how much I believe that he could be a speaker, someone who is empowering others to get through the same struggle that he's getting. And when I told him back in November of this year that I wanted him to be one of our keynote speakers, he was overwhelmed with joy. Overwhelmed that he had made it that far and was going to be able to somehow say thank you. And I remember the days leading up to the gala, talking to him and how excited he was about having this opportunity and inviting his family and who was going to be speaking. And we had, one of our speakers was the Ulster County executive, and he was just blown away that he would be speaking with somebody of such high political value or high political standing. And I remember having the discussions about, what do I wear? What is this? How much can I say? What do you want me to say? And I said, Jordan, be you. Be you. Because you can't be anybody else. That's what we all have to be. We have to be ourself. We've got enough. We are enough. And you could just feel him relax. And I remember him a couple days before, I don't know if I can make it. And this is something that you come to expect. Because confidence and self-esteem and the ability to speak in public, having been humiliated your entire life by your addiction, and the stigma that goes with it, I truly expected that that's what that would be. And he said, I don't have anything to wear. I said, Jordan, we'll take care of that. That's the least of our worries. And so when I called him the night before and told him that we had to postpone, you could hear and feel the great disappointment, because he was ready to shine. He was ready to rise up and show the world, but more importantly, show himself how worthwhile he is. Because as much as we regard him, and his family and his friends and all those that were touched by him regard him, inside, it was not there, but it was building. So I was so excited to hear what he would have said, but I know what he would have said. And this is what he would have said. I want to thank Hope Rocks for supporting me. This organization does such great things. They're so important. They make people believe in themselves. They're able to understand our problems. This is a great group. Keep doing your work. And that's what Jordan would have said. And it would have been perfect and right for Jordan. But for me, there's so much more to be said. And I want to share with you something that he had asked me to write to a judge in the fall, because he was facing another prison sentence. And I don't know who's seen this. I don't know if his family's seen this or his friends have seen this, and knowing Jordan, they hadn't, because there's too much in there that he would feel was his fault. Please bear with me as I read this, because you need to know these are the people, these are the human beings that are so important and so powerful. We need to stand by their side. We need to hold on to them. To whom it may concern, the world needs Jordan Falzano more than ever. Feel free to reread that statement, as it is a fact. This letter is not about begging mercy. It is about recognizing a man and his mission. I have known Jordan since January 10, 2019, and I can make this declaration without reservation. Jordan reached out to me in total desperation in the morning of that cold, gray day, begging for help not to use again. He didn't know me, but he must have heard about the mission for which I'm involved, called Hope Rocks Events. Not knowing who was on the other side of the Hope Rocks Facebook site, he reached me. To be honest, this was the first time we had a message such as this, and I was not sure how to proceed. The message led to an understanding and admiration for his journey and his destination. Never would I have thought, predicted, or intended to find myself talking someone out of using. I'm not an expert, and it's not really my problem. I'm an elementary school teacher, not a counselor. Yet, it was the beginning of a life-changing experience. The Facebook messages led to a phone call, then soon found myself in the car driving 30 minutes to meet him. In all, I spent about 12 hours with him that day. 12 hours with what some might consider a person who is paying the just price for his choices. I was taught a great deal in those 12 hours. As I looked into his eyes, I could see the shame, the embarrassment, the pain and desperation caused by humiliating defeat and devastating loss. In his voice, I heard a young man who recognized his lack of control and his ability to do the right thing. I witnessed authenticity in him. As a teacher, coach, father, and person who's made a life of working with young people, I can see the imposters, the excuse makers, and frauds as they work to convince me of their victimhood. But Jordan presented himself as a broken, bashed, and empty man who wondered if he deserved more from his life. Remember, we were two strangers drawn to each other by a last chance plea on a Facebook page. Hope Rocks events began as a grassroots counter-assault on the epidemic of death that we are witnessing, rooted in despair caused by addiction and mental illness. In 2016, after the death of my 8th former student in 5 years, desperation inspired me to create this mission. Since that time, we've coordinated festivals, events, and programs to reach individuals, families, and connect communities to respond to this devastation. I'm in my 29th year of teaching and have coached for over 20, and am the father of 5 children. The future is my life passion. In all my years, I've never witnessed such hopelessness in the eyes of our young as I do now. That's not why I got into teaching. A future should illuminate opportunity and not cast shadows of darkness. Thankfully, with a group of people with similar mind, Hope Rocks has become our main focus, allowing us to discover possibility in the darkest of shadows. Please don't confuse me as a fairy tale optimist and a soft-hearted bastion of cheer and happiness. I'm a realist and a pragmatist. I'll do anything for anyone willing to do for themselves. Like you, I have no time or energy for excuses and playing. Immediately, I searched Jordan for signs of these traits to see how deep I wanted to go. He never drew the victim card. He never blamed anyone for his situation. He wanted to change his life. However, the deeper our discussion proceeded, it was clear he had some serious consequences to address. There was no way he could start his recovery journey while still running. He was a fugitive, avoiding penalty for previous deeds, and needed to face a prison sentence if he turned himself in. Shortly after our meeting, he did. He served an 8-month sentence in Rome, New York, and we stayed in contact throughout. I grew ever more convinced of his authenticity and greatly admired his courage to do the right thing. And often asked myself, what would I do in his shoes? Honestly, I still don't know the answer to that question. His goal was to be released in time to attend the Hope Rocks Festival in August 2019, a goal he achieved. It was one of the greatest moments of my life to have him find a way to Saugerties, to follow through on his promise. He attended meetings, listened to some of the presenters, visited our Hope Rocks village, and came away desiring to be involved with Hope Rocks. Through the short time knowing him, I've become ever more certain his story needs to be heard, as he will save lives. Jordan's has been a life of vicious, cruel slapdowns, only to find the strength to get up. He was a child born into a broken relationship with both the mother and father battling addictions of their own. Shortly after he was born, he and his mother left his dad and moved to Florida. Postpartum stress accelerated by mental illness and alcohol dependency caused his mom to try to sell him at 8 months old. His father interceded and took him from her. This brought on a ping-pong match of accusations from both mom and dad as to the fitness of either to have custody. Allegations against the father soon brought the mom emergency custody. More bouncing back and forth between mom and dad led to respite homes, foster homes, and group homes because neither parent could hold on to him. Compounding this was Jordan's inability to prosper under these circumstances, and he frequently ran away to fend for himself. At 11 years of age, Jordan started smoking pot and completed his first rehabilitation stint at 12. This soon led to a PINS ruling resulting in a DFY placement, which without clear understanding led to 17 months. It lasted 17 months. Upon release, he was placed in a program in upstate New York for troubled youth. This 5-month program was nearly complete when 2 weeks prior to his release from this program, a child he was supervising drowned while he was supposed to be watching him during Memorial Day weekend swimming and hiking outing. He was stunned, panicked, and ran away after telling the staff for fear of returning to DFY. An APB was put out on him, and a few days later he was found. As he feared, he was sent back to DFY. At age 16, after being released, he grew close to his older brother who was recovering from his own addiction and looked up to him as a mentor of hope and possibility. His brother was clean and sober and took the responsibility to help others to find sobriety. However, the pressure of the task was too much, and he took his life later that year. It was about the same time Jordan started using heavier substances. Trouble, pain, suffering, isolation, and darkness were his constant companions. 5 years after his brother's suicide, his sister died as a result of a car accident. She left 2 small daughters. By 21, Jordan had witnessed a multiplicity of devastation and permanence which surrounds unnatural death of a peer or family member. Moreover, He was left without the necessary maturation, support, and stability to process what very few have experienced. The years following were filled with poor decisions, increased usage, attempts at cleaning up, only to be slapped down again and again. Upon release of his most recent incarceration, Jordan worked hard to keep himself on the recovery road. He attended meetings, took care of an outstanding traffic violation, and worked to get his driver's license back. The release of the legal burden lifted him with hope and possibility, and he looked forward to driving himself to meetings and programs. He was stunned when he later learned the DMV would not issue him a license for another 14 years. This set him back hard. He broke. The natural high was soon followed by the flood of pain. He used to cope. Of course, as it always does, this lapse in judgment led to his most recent trouble. However, with all of these things, the disturbing question is, how would I respond in any one of these circumstances if I was in his shoes? And I honestly cannot answer this. I know how I would like to answer it, and I know how he wanted to respond. But in all reality, would I be any different? Jordan is 30 years old. He's authentically human. When I look back at my youth, I'm not the same person I was then, and hopefully not defined by the sins of my past. If I did not have an understanding system of support and a purpose for my future, I truly believe my life would have ended long ago. I would have never seen the beauty of the struggle and its necessity in allowing me to desire to help others see their potential. Jordan's story in life is so much more powerful because he continually gets up and he knows he has something to offer to this life of his, despite the circumstances. Jordan Falzano is a warrior, a man in the best sense of the word, and a dealer of hope. And that is what I see in him. I want to apologize to the family and the friends if I brought up things that should not have been brought up, and I attribute that to my poor judgment in the emotional state that I'm in. We're not alone. We need each other. We need to lift each other up. But more than that, we need to think about what it's like to walk in somebody else's shoes. How would we be any different given the circumstances that somebody else faces? I'm going back to the beginning. Are we ignorant to think that we cannot make a difference? Are we arrogant to think that we can make a difference? For Jordan's sake, and all of those warriors that are struggling and that have lost the struggle. We have to continue, because every time they got up, they knew that there was a possibility for a better life, and you can't get that lying down. But sometimes you just wear out. I'm asking all of you, I'm begging all of you to think of those, and if you're inclined to do so, to pray for those that are forgotten, that are ignored, that are overlooked, that are misunderstood. Because in reality, when we get to know them, we get to know us. I want to thank you, and God bless you.
My father could use a little mercy now. The fruits of his labor falling right here on the ground. His work is almost over. Pretty soon he won't be around. And I love my father. He could use a little mercy now. My brother, he could use just a little mercy now. He's a stranger to freedom, shackled to his fears and doubt. You know the pain that he lives in. It's almost more than living will allow. You know I love my brother. He could use a little mercy now.
I hope our friend Mike Farris, and this is his Grammy-winning song, does not mind that we use this. God bless you, Jordan, and God bless all the warriors. God bless all the warriors.